Wow! You're an idiot!
It's that time of year again. As the 2025 baseball season approaches, we begin a 6-month odyssey of thrilling action and screaming at incompetent middle-aged men for being terrible at their jobs. The 2025 season is looking like it will be an exciting one for probably a third of the league, while the other 2/3 of the league's owners complain about small market bullshit as their excuse for being cheap. However, the American League has teams that are good on paper regardless of being rich or poor. Teams with lower payrolls like the Guardians, Royals, and Tigers can very much compete with the Yankees, Red Sox, and Astros. But those are just a few teams in the American League I'll be talking about in this video. Let's meet the rest of the AL, shall we? Last year, the Orioles took a massive step back. However, it wasn't the pitching that was disappointing. The hitting for the Birds were Jekyll or Hyde. They were either the reincarnation of Big Red Machine, or they would go missing for weeks that they would have to be put on milk cartons. Pretty much the only consistently good hitter last year was Gunnar Henderson. If the Orioles want to have a shot at a pennant, they need their lineup to hit like they're advertised. Specifically, Adley Rutschman. He did not have a long slump like he did last year. In the meantime, there are reinforcements to help fill the voids of Anthony Santander and Corbin Burns. Big names like Tyler O'Neill, Charlie Morton, Gary Sanchez. What the fuck happened to the unlimited spending the new owners promised? Here's the story of the Red Sox the past 3 seasons. They get off to a fairly strong start, then they get red hot in the middle of the season, and then in mid-August they start to fall apart like a Boeing-made airplane. The culprit for all 3 of these collapses? The pitching. And last year was more painful as their bullpen went from one of the best in the league to one just throwing meatballs down the middle that would either land on Lansdowne Street or somewhere in Southie. To be fair, their 2 free agent signings last year, and Lucas Giolito and Liam Hendricks, were out for the year. The good news is they'll be back for the start of the season. Seeing this, the Red Sox got more pitching depth. Garrett Crochet is now free from the hell known as the White Sox. Also, Walker Buehler is here on a prove-it deal, and you can never go wrong with more offense. Alex Bregman is here for 3 years. Maybe by the time this video comes out, we'll get used to him wearing a Red Sox cap. Let's also ignore Rafi Devers being upset he's being pushed out at third base. Last year, the Yankees won the American League pennant for the first time since Instagram came out. This was thanks to Juan Soto and Aaron Judge being the second coming of Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris. However, though, the Yankees had a bit of an up-and-down offseason. First, there was Juan Soto transferring from Grand Central Station to the 7 line to join the Mets. There was Giancarlo sacrificing both his elbows to have an 09 A-Rod-esque postseason run, his heels out for a couple months with a lat injury, and the coup de grace of this shit show, Garrett Cole being out for the season with Tommy John surgery. However, though, the Yankees had a backup plan, getting Max Fried, Devin Williams, and Cody Bellinger. The Yankees still look poised to make it back to the Fall Classic. And hopefully, us Yankee fans will forget about an inning that we will not talk about. I swear to God, if I hear one more fucking Aaron Judge drop ball joke, I will have a 30-minute lecture on your shitty team shortcomings. This offseason has been a nightmare for the Rays and their fans. And it's not with money issues this time. In fact, they've signed free agents like Ha-Seong Kim, Danny Jensen, and Eloy Menace. No, the Rays are once again having stadium issues. They'll be playing their home games at the Yankee Spring Training Facility in Tampa due to Hurricane Milton, but that's not even the worst part. That would be another stadium deal falling through with St. Petersburg, after the Rays balked on it because of funding issues. When the mayor of the city is saying the bridge is burned for a new stadium deal, you know it's completely fucked. Now relocation rumors are swirling again. It might actually happen this time, more specifically to a huge city north of the border in Quebec. As unfortunate as it sounds, baseball in Tampa Bay might be coming to an end. The only way Rays fans can get out of this with somewhat of a happy ending if the Rays go to Orlando. Remember when Vladdy Guerrero said that the 2022 season was going to be a movie a few years ago? Well, it turned out that movie was just the baseball equivalent of the Hangover trilogy. The first movie was really good and lived up to the hype. The second movie, while really disappointing, was okay. And then the third movie was just absolute fucking dog shit. And now that movie is going to become a last dance, with Vladdy and Bo Bichette becoming free agents at season's end, and how the Blue Jays are known to be thrown onto the cuck chair when it comes to blue chip free agents, as they just use them for leverage. It's going to be difficult. They did end up getting Anthony Santander, Andres Gimenez, Jeff Hoffman, and Max Scherzer on the 3rd stop of his retirement tour. You also extended Alejandro Kirk, giving him $11.6 million a year to a guy who only had 1 elite year as a catcher. Yeah, Vladdy is good as gone. just like the Maple Leafs in May every year. The glorious tank of Chicago. Enjoying another god-awful season, and Jerry Reinsdorf trying to move the team to Nashville. After having another regular season where they exceeded expectations and then their fans developing PTSD from hearing the names Yankee Stadium, I want to explain the Guardians organization this decade. Every even year, they succeeded in expectations. They get to see up-and-coming talent in their lineup and pitching core as they finish first in the Central. Then in every odd year, they massively underperform where the only player worth a damn is Jose Ramirez and everything falls to shit. This is what happens when owners keep penny pinching and want to keep the money all to themselves. And then their fans will complain about how other teams' payrolls are inflated, and they will revive their victimhood complex. However, though, other than J-Ram, Stephen Kwan, Emmanuel Passe, and Tanner Beebe look like they could be elite players. However, though, they still need more hitting depth to replace Josh Naylor. I have it, the second coming of Carlos Santana. Last year, I went to Chicago in the summer. I saw the Tigers play 4 times because they were playing the Cubs and White Sox that week. It was then I found out that the Tigers are an actually good team. A team with a lineup hitting frozen ropes daily and a great pitching core. How good are they? They may have ended the Astros' stranglehold on the American League. With hitting talents like Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, Colt Keith, a rotation led by potential generational talent in Tarek Skubal and an upcoming rookie in Jackson Jobe, they added to this by getting Gleyber Torres and Tommy Kahnle, and the return of Jack Flaherty after a brief but successful stay in Hollywood. The Tigers have finally reached the light at the end of the tunnel. Just don't waste Skubal's career like you did with Verlander and Scherzer. You aren't going to waste Skubal's Tigers tenure, right? The Kansas City Royals are back in the spotlight of relevance for the first time in a decade. Leading the way is Bobby Witt Jr., the 5-tool player this sport desperately needs. Salvador Perez, aging like a fine wine, hitting tanks all over the ballpark, and everyone's favorite NFL insider in the Pass Watch. This winter they didn't really do much, just get Jonathan India. Brady Singer was a luxury good, but in a rotation led by Cole Reagan, Seth Lugo, and Michael Fonty-Bear Walker. With a decent bullpen, this team looks like the most likely team to dethrone the Yankees in the American League. If all goes according to plan, of course. The 2023 Twin season was a magical one. They finally had their players healthy with a good pitching rotation and an exciting lineup, which led them to their first postseason series win in over 20 years. How they followed that season up in 2024? By collapsing like the I-35 West Bridge did nearly 2 decades ago. This happened because whenever they played a team with somewhat of a pulse, they just shot themselves so hard that they contracted irreparable foul syndrome. They tried to solve this issue by doing next to nothing in the offseason by signing next to nobody, and then just blamed it on the RSN deal lapsing and kept trying for. I look at this roster and I think to myself, this is mid as fuck. Besides Correa, Buxton, who is another player that can possibly contribute to this team? Trevor Warnick, Matt Wallner, Royce Lewis when he's healthy? Speaking of health, pray for the baseball gods that Byron Buxton actually stays healthy this season. This guy truly deserves a break. I fucking hate this team, and I really shouldn't. They have a great up-and-coming lineup with Lawrence Butler, Brett Rooker, and Jacob Wilson. Mason Miller could be the next great closer. Then you realize they're owned by a scumbag who cried for so many years and demanded the city of Oakland to pay for a new stadium, and then purposely making the state team so unwatchable that their fans were apathetic, and now they'll be playing in a minor league ballpark in Sacramento as they wait for Vegas to build them a stadium. They celebrate this complete fucking of Oakland by signing Luis Severino to $60 million a year, then extending Lawrence Butler and Brett Rooker, proving one thing: John Fisher never wanted to stay in Oakland. He just wanted to appease the fans with his bullshit, saying he wanted to stay in Oakland. Do us all a favor and go to Oakland Roots games this year if you're in the Bay Area. I think it's time we come to the realization that the Astros are cooked. They pretty much are not as feared as they used to be. This is what happens when your owner already got his rings and decides not to put money into the team anymore. Jose Altuve and Yordan Alvarez are also not getting any younger. Soon enough, the Astros are going to go back into obscurity, and fans will not show up to their games like they did a decade ago. It probably won't be as bad as the 2010s, but it'll be close. However, despite losing Bregman and trading Kyle Tucker, there are some decent replacements. They signed Christian Walker to a good deal, filling the void in first base that the club has been searching for the last year and a half. Also, Isak Paredes at third base. Just enjoy it while it lasts, Houston. Meanwhile, 29 other teams are celebrating your demise. The Tanks are out in Orange County. Enjoy wasting another year of Trout's career and Anthony Rendon sitting on his fat ass collecting unemployment checks. The M's are a tale of two teams. First, an amazing pitching rotation, rivaling the 90s Braves in talent, with Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Bryce Miller, and Brian Wu. Then the lineup, who couldn't score on a goddamn prostitute, even if they had a $100 bill out of their zipper. This team should have won the division by 100 miles. However, with a hitting core as lifeless as Henry Kissinger, they once again found themselves on the golf course in October. If you expect J-Rod to lead you to the promised land of October baseball by himself, you're in for a rude awakening. At least you got Cal Raleigh extended. That and hopefully Victor Robles is finally looking like the player he was hyped to be when he was a prospect with the Nats. Please just make it to the postseason. Your fans have suffered enough already. There are championship hangovers, and then there was ever the hell the Rangers were last season. My god, this team looked like zombies for most of the 2024 season. Fortunately, unlike most teams on this list, they actually did things to improve. Joining an already stacked lineup is Jock Peterson and Jake Berger. Getting more protection for Marcus Semien and Corey Seager is good, but the pitching rotation is like playing that glass panel game in Squid Game. It's either going to be really good, or it'll go as well as Nico Harrison's tenure as the Dallas Mavericks general manager. And with Jacob deGrom as your ace in the year of our Lord 2025, there may be issues. Just don't have a top-heavy lineup and you'll be fine. Seriously, why did the Mavericks trade Luka Doncic to the Lakers? Are they just trying to throw away their franchise? After looking at the American League, it's hard to decipher what October is going to look like. But my predictions goes as follows. For the division winners, I'm going with the Yankees, Tigers, and Astros. As for the wild card, it's much tougher, but in the end, I'm going with the Red Sox, Royals, and Mariners. Either way, buckle up for a long summer. Play ball, motherfuckers!